you tell them one thing. Just win, baby.
What is going on, Raider Nation? It's your boy Samoa Raider back with another episode of Nation News, and today we got some good Nation news. The Raiders have finally relieved Paul Guenther of his duties as the defensive coordinator. So he is finally gone from this team. I believe this was long overdue, long overdue, and I know a lot of Raider fans were probably happy about this move. Oh, scratch that. All of Raider Nation was happy about this move. They weren't happy about the game, obviously, but this was some kind of, relief for the Raider Nation. The Raiders didn't relieve Paul Guenther. The Raiders relieved the Raider Nation of some stress yesterday. Oh my! Because at the end of the day, we got rid of Paul Guenther, and Rod Marinelli, our defensive lineman coach, has taken over as the defensive coordinator for the rest of the season. Now, what does this mean for this team going into these next couple of games? I don't know, but hopefully it's for the better. It only took the Raiders 3 hours after the game to fire Paul Guenther. Now, we as Raider fans have all been calling for Paul Guenther's head, for him to be fired. I believe this should have never happened. I believe that this should have happened before they came to Vegas. I believe when they came to Vegas, they should have left Paul Guenther and his trash defense in Oakland. But you know what? That's all besides the point. I guess Jon Gruden and company were just tired of this defense, especially after that last game against the Colts.
Defensively, we had no answer. Can't give up that many yards rushing and not get to the quarterback and then lose the turnover margin and expect to win in this league.
The Colts put up over 400 yards against us, 212 on the ground. They ran all over us. I went over this yesterday in the game recap. We couldn't do anything to stop Phillip Rivers and their offense at all. Phillip Rivers had some problems with his toe, turf toe or whatnot, and he still was comfortable in the pocket and threw the ball and just basically tore up our whole defense. The Colts put up 44 points on our defense. Well, okay, one of them was for a pick six, but still, that's over 30-something points. It's crazy to think that we only had one quarterback hit on Phillip Rivers in the game, and that was from Arden Key. We had no kind of turnovers, we had no kind of pressure, we couldn't stop the run. Our defense didn't do anything. And you think about how well our offense played yesterday. I know we could have played better, but our offense was able to move the ball down the field, whether we scored a field goal or even scored a touchdown. You have to put some trust in this defense to at least force a 3-and-out or get the ball right back in your offense's hand. Last week, we had 2 drives where we were down by at least a field goal or even a touchdown. And if our defense could have at least stopped the Colts offense, we could have had a chance to tie the ball game or even take the lead with one of those drives, but we didn't, because every time the defense went on the field, the Colts went out there and scored. We just had no answer for them. I don't understand why this didn't happen earlier. And the moment we went out and hired Rod Marinelli, I know most people were saying that he's gonna end up being the defensive coordinator if Paul Guenther can't get things going. And it took 14 weeks for the Raiders to finally fire Paul Guenther. They should have fired his ass a long time ago. We knew we had our backup defensive coordinator if Paul Guenther didn't get anything going this year, and he didn't. Our offense carried us throughout most of these games. Okay, there was one game, I would give the defense one game where they came through for this team. Other than that, our offense has carried this team all the way through the season, and we're 7-6 right now. So I don't understand why it took Jon Gruden and the Raiders organization this long to finally fire Paul Guenther when we knew Rod Marinelli was going to step in as a defensive coordinator. Now, this falls on the shoulders of Jon Gruden, and that's mostly his fault as well, because he makes the decisions. Because at this point, I believe it's a little bit too late, unless this defense can turn around overnight and follow Rod Marinelli in these next couple of games, especially if we want to go into the playoffs. Now, the playoffs, I don't want to talk about it that much. We do still have a chance, and I do have a lot of trust, and I still believe in my team and have faith in my team until the bitter end. But we have got to handle these next 3 games defensively and offensively. And if this move initially helps this team out, then you got to question why we couldn't do this a lot sooner. But hopefully this team turns it all around, and hopefully our defense steps up and wants to play for a guy like Rod Marinelli and buys into whatever scheme he's going to bring in, because I know we're not going to run that same Paul Guenther defense. because why would we? Now, I didn't have a lot of expectations when the Raiders did hire Paul Guenther in 2018. Our defense was okay. Our defense was rocky. And like I said in yesterday's video, with the offense that we have out there, we don't need our defense to be top 10. We just need to be middle of the pack, mediocre. An okay defense is good enough for this team. But what we've seen against the Colts, against the Falcons, we've seen a horrible defense. If you look at the stats, it's actually crazy. In 3 seasons with Paul Guenther, our Raiders defense ranked last in points per game, 31st in yards per play, 29th in passer rating against, last in sacks with only 60 sacks in the 3 years that he's been a defensive coordinator, and 30th in takeaways. And we entered this past Sunday's game the 22nd ranked defense, 24th against the pass, 19th against the run, and tied for 30th in sacks. Obviously, we are not getting to the quarterback enough to make any kind of noise out there. It kind of frustrates me because we let go of a guy like Buckner when we could have just fired Paul Guenther before we came to Vegas, hired Rod Marinelli as our defensive coordinator, and keep Buckner as our defensive line coordinator. But it just didn't happen that way. We just had to wait it out this season. Rod Marinelli's defensive line wasn't even all that good. But still, we're sitting here, one of the worst defenses in the league. This last game was a must-win game for the Raiders, and we could have won this game if our defense at least showed up in some type of way, some type of fashion. This defense this year has given up over 30 points in 8 of the 13 games that we've played this season. And we've given up over 400 yards in 7 games this season. That is unacceptable. The Raiders organization have done their best this past offseason trying to bring as many defensive weapons to help Paul Guenther in this defense. But that wasn't enough. We brought in high-profile free agents. Guys like Corey Littleton, who was supposedly the #1 linebacker in free agency, didn't do shit. Nick Wachowski came in. He's been solid. Malik Collins, Carl Nassib. Need I say more? We brought all these guys in to help this defense, bring some key players to help this defense out, this defensive line out, get to the quarterback. And the fact that we only have 15 sacks this season is not cutting it for this team. We're putting no pressure. We couldn't even put a pressure on Phillip Rivers. We couldn't put pressure on Matt Ryan. We barely could put pressure on Sam Darnold last week. Cleveland Farrell got to him twice, which was great. But all in all, we brought in all these high-profile free agents, and it still hasn't helped out this team. We were all calling for Tom Cable's head. I believe, was it 2018? I forgot what the year was, but we all wanted Tom Cable fired until we gave him some weapons on the offensive line. We brought in Trent Brown. We brought in Richie Incognito. And he did his best. He turned this whole offensive line around, and we are one of the best offensive lines in the league. And this year, with the carousel of players that we have on the offensive line, we have still been solid in protecting Derek Carr. Now, I know these past couple of games have been shaky, but Tom Cable has done the best with the weapons that we have brought in for him. And the fact that we went and got weapons for Paul Guenther in this defense, and he still cannot get it done, it's crazy. And the fact that he just got fired yesterday, it seems like it's a little bit too late. This should have been done a long time ago, and I say that over and over in this video because it's true. This is a move that we could have done a couple of weeks ago after the Falcons game, but we still kept him. In a week after the Jets let go of Greg Williams after a stupid play at the end of the game. We were all questioning, why does Paul Guenther still have a job? And he finally gets fired 3 hours after this Colts game. It's kind of crazy because in press conferences, I know a lot of defensive players have went at Paul Guenther or even try to knock Paul Guenther without even saying anything. Like, there was some players, I don't know who it was, but somebody did bring it up in a story I read on Instagram. That one of these players said that we can only play as good as the position that we're put in. And that means that Paul Guenther is not putting these players in the right positions to excel. He's not putting them in the best position for them to excel in this defense. And the biggest example is, look at a guy like LaMarcus Joyner, a safety that we brought over from the Rams. He was one of the best safeties, and we brought him in to play slot. Now, I know we wanted to test him out in the slot at corner, and he's been horrible. But the little glimpses that we have put him at, the safety position, he's excelled. So why haven't we used LaMarcus Joyner as safety? We know that he's better there. Eric Harris is a liability in that secondary. Jonathan Abram is a heat-seeking missile, and he's a good player, but makes some dumb mistakes. Why can't we put a guy like LaMarcus Joyner, who is known for being a good safety, at the safety position? I don't understand that. And then you look at a guy like Corey Littleton, who excelled in that defense with the Rams and was one of the best linebackers. He comes over to the Raiders And he looks like one of the worst linebackers we've ever picked up in free agency. I don't understand that. Maybe he's just not that good in any other defense, or maybe he's just not put in a position to excel in his defense. This is what I'm talking about. Now, I understand that injuries play a big part of our defense as well, because most of these players have not been available for most of these games, whether it's COVID or whether it's injuries. But still, next man up. You have got to be ready. You have got to put every single player in the best position possible to go out there and excel. And it was funny watching John Gruden's press conference after the game, because you knew he wanted to fire Paul's ass the moment the game was done.
We had no answer today. And we better find some answers, and as soon as I'm done here, we'll start searching.
But at the end of the day, Raider Nation, our defense has played horrible. This move was definitely long overdue, and it's still questionable, but we'll see. We'll see how our defense plays under Rod Marinelli come this Thursday against the Chargers. Now, it's not going to be an easy game. We have got to handle business if we want to have any chance at the playoffs this year. Our defense has got to step up, and if we still can't get it done without Paul Guenther, then I guess our defense is just trash overall. What do you guys think, Raider Nation? Do you think our defense is going to play better now under Rod Marinelli? For me, hopefully. But time will tell, and we'll find out this Thursday against the San Diego Chargers. I mean, the LA Chargers. All right, Raider Nation, that is all I have for you guys today in this video. I know this news came out not too long after the game recap that I put out yesterday, so I wanted to make another video today. Let me know your guys' thoughts, or you could just vent down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and if this is the first time you're watching this video, then hit that subscribe button and hit that notification icon button just to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this one. With that being said, this is your boy Samoan Raider, and your boy is yeah.
And you tell them one thing. Just win, baby.